Hey, everybody, I'm Mike McMahon, and you are watching Trekyards.
Hi guys, welcome back to Trekyards. This is not our season finale, do not worry. But we are talking about season finale. And until then, I'm Captain Foley. I know he wants to salute, so there we go. Now I can salute.
Lieutenant Junior Grade Coggings. It does make sense.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the season finale of, season 1 finale, obviously, of Lower Decks, which is episode 10, which is called No Small Parts. Well, I've said it before, and I'm going to have to say it again. Best episode so far. This was a great episode, and I really enjoyed it. Lots of nice callbacks and some cool goodies in this one. So I'm looking forward to talking about all the details, the minutia.
I think at this point, 10 episodes in, this really is the Star Trek that Star Trek fans needed. That the company you thought we needed, Discovery, which is basically a reboot, and Picard, a gritty, hyper-dark, modern tale with political overtones that were also sort of subtle, strange. But in reality, we needed this. You know, I think a lot of people think Star Trek is back, finally. And this episode was basically perfect. It's shocking to walk away and see nothing you don't like. And that's both from a character point of view, from a film point of view, from a reference point of view, from a, using the canon point of view. Really, really good. And it's my favourite Star Trek that I've seen since Infinite Darkly in 2005. Part 2.
Funny you said that, because that's my exact quote from last night from my live first reaction. Said the best Star Trek episode since Infinite Darkly Part 2.
Proves this show, while yes, it's a comedy, it is drama, it is characters, and to give us that much character story and that much season 1 arc that you feel satisfied. And now, if you go back and watch episode 1, which we're obviously going to do for the retrospective, you will forgive Mariner's insubordination and feeling of roughness at the start, because you know that it actually is going somewhere. Whereas obviously in Discovery and Picard, we know both season 1, season 2 Discovery and season 1 of Picard both changed direction and rewrote their endings to some extent, and sometimes the middle. And so that, of course, it felt disjointed. It wasn't planned. This season feels totally planned, totally built up, and totally earned. And then the Riker appearance also puts Riker's appearance in Picard to shame. It makes that look like a joke in comparison, So they up the bar so high. So that's some of my thoughts, Stuart.
As season 1 goes, the only one that tops this is TOS. I think for just overall quality from beginning to end.
Hands down,
and
yeah.
just the feeling. I mean, they even brought back the classic Star Trek joke, the Packlids, and made them a menacing force to be reckoned with. Kind of which we're going to have a lot of great discussions and breakdown videos on this episode, so stay tuned for those. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button, do all that stuff right now so you don't miss out.
It's a remarkably clever episode. And it's one of the situations that I've said often in even Star Wars as well. You can invent something new, or you can utilize the universe and then move forward. The Packlids is such a payoff. No one would have thought of it because it sounds ridiculous, but they achieved it. They achieved a somewhat impossibility. Even in DS9, they're in the background as extras, and they're Packlids. Who cares? But they legitimately come on. Oh no, it's another Enterprise. That's brilliant. That's a stupidly brilliant joke. It's really, really, it shows he absolutely has his finger on the pulse of the Star Trek fandom, the Star Trek. Well, we were right about a lot of things. The pre-tell sequence, the hero ship coming in with a legacy, doing something epic.
The thing I've been calling for the past few episodes, where they're going to be using that shuttle that they've been repairing at some point.
You said that for episode 2, I think.
But one of the best things, obviously, is starting out with Beta 3, with the whole return of the Archons.
It makes you just grin inside and out, doesn't it? That's just like, oh.
Yeah. The whole Landru computer thing. Again, showing that even the TOS-styled computer look still works if it's done properly. Sure, it had do not listen to and caution tape, Federation caution tape, which was great. And then the reference to Kirk and Spock being the animated series characters, even though it's not an animated episode, it's a TOS episode.
But that's how they would see them.
The old scientists or the original science. What was it? What was his?
The original scientists, yeah.
Yeah. But he mentioned Spock and Scotty. I wish the TOS would have stood for the original Starfleet or the old school Starfleet or something. I didn't like the old or the original scientist thing.
Well,
but
it's a
anyway.
it's a silly pet name by him. That shouldn't become like a real term, but in the context of this show, it's an absurd joke, and it's just like, oh, wow, okay. And what's great about the first scene is that it is absolutely a throwaway, and yet it absolutely isn't, because it links directly to a season 2 theme, which is the mum is getting upset with her lack of ability to make change. And the second contact mission itself is slightly flawed in if you can't go back regularly. So it's actually a setup for the next grand season, which is great. They took a concept. How can we utilize that into canon? And that's a really tremendous reference. Beautiful, yeah.
And the great reference to Starfleet, good at initiating, bad at maintaining, or something like that. Just assuming that all these TOS cultures that the Enterprise messed with would be fine a generation later was great. The whole reference to Gamesters of Triskelion as well.
Yeah, and it also enhances the mum character. It shows that she is striving for more than her position, wanting more, being more of that hero. And I watched the Ready Room on this episode, and Mike Mann was saying how originally it was meant to be more the lower decks, but as he was writing, he realised how intertwined the lower decks and the bridge crew have to be, because that's the nature of a ship. And so I think he's getting the sense that, no, you have to actually make a story for everyone else, even if it's a more minor. And so giving her that larger arc, making her be less of, not a villain, obviously, but sometimes very poor decision-making captain is a good choice, because you can, as long as everyone means well, you can make mistakes, but it's when you don't mean well. And so I think having that shift of the Mariner arc, and now they're going to try and work together, can't see it being a smooth sailing, but having that shift shows that season 1 is a season 1 arc. Let's progress, let's evolve. This isn't going to be and we theorize this with, will people get promotions or not, etc. Pip. Are they just going to keep the same formula for 7 seasons? No, they're clever. They're going to try and modify, upgrade it, do something a little bit different as they go. I mean, come on, the amount of fundamental changes to the show format this episode. Oh my god, are you kidding? Talk about taking risks, and they Trekyard, they did Down Jackson. They did so many things. This is like, wow. Talk about unexpected episode.
Lots unexpected in this. Even some things becoming canonized that we never thought would, like the Spock helmet. The little references, little small things that are now, if you consider this canon, a lot of people don't because it's a cartoon, but I like the canonization of a few things, especially the Titan. That was the big one for me, to actually see that on screen doing its thing with Riker in command.
I mean, and if you're going to bring a ship in, don't be creative and design your own thing. Use what's been established for 15 years, and having actually compared it, it is, as with everything, about 95% accurate. I mean, very, very high level of detail, and it works. So congrats to Sean Torre and Joe for it being canon. I mean, it's been canon in our heads for years. And now as obviously we're going to do a video on it, we've now got a bridge. Okay, a lieutenant's quarters, but that's the same as other quarters, but we've got a bridge. That's absolutely a new bit of canon to look at. I mean, we'll do a full Titan, don't want to talk about too much today, but yeah, I mean, that's just well done them, because they could have easily dropped the ball by inventing something else, which would be like, oh, that's a shame. But just by doing what you should do, the fans would want, the fans would do, like the cred level, again, raised all the way higher.
And even they've referenced the Titan a few times, and the fact that it's Boimler's kind of fantasy assignment, which is great.
Which means it was set up as well.
Yeah, referencing it in this episode with the whole Titans nearby too. Nah, we're gonna go do this, and make her look like a fool for having somebody hit the wrong button, and we're coming to rescue them.
And talk about start of the episode again, unexpected, to destroy an entire California class in a graphic way. I mean, I was literally like, that hit me more than most, more than Picard's destruction of Topo Planitia, or any of these things that don't work as well. This was a very, very dramatic scene that, for a comedy, still has those comedic, well, this is the character bits, but that was harsh and very effective.
And a brand new California class. Like, it still had the stupid plastic on things. Well, let's talk about the uniform. You're wearing the uniform. It's good to see that those uniforms are still where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do. And even the fact that Boimler gets one, which means it's not one that's being phased out or anything. It's just the different mission profiles of the ships, I guess. Which you asked about at Vegas. So... And I guess the answer he gave us was quite correct.
Yeah, I mean, it was that.
What did he say exactly?
Oh, well, he said, yeah, I mean, they take time to phase out uniforms, but not all ships need the same uniform, and some just don't work. Some uniforms come and just aren't picked up full time. Because we know this is 1 year after Nemesis, so why would they... Okay, they obviously could, but why would they change uniforms? We see Marin on DS9, although we know her career's at least 10 plus years, if not more, so that could be any time. But the fact that, and also I think that last scene, we often talk about how these episodes, sometimes, especially TNG, miss that last sting of epicness. If it didn't have that final Titan scene, it would have felt more flat. That was the epic scene you needed. You're just like, oh, wait, what, really? We're doing this? We're doing this? We're doing this! And for fans, it's like, yes, the full thing. And therefore the context is the proper Pride of the Fleet ships, the top 40% best of, they wear the proper uniforms. We are putting our first foot forward. The other ones are more service uniforms. The basic low end, those aren't the formal uniforms so much as just it's kind of second tier uniforms. So a lot of people wear those. Although then why would admirals wear them? But I mean, obviously, if you kept showing these uniforms throughout the entire season, it would be such a payoff to then see a full crew of them. That's also a contrast thing. But yeah, super satisfying, and hopefully. We know Riker and Titan are back for season 2, at least first episode. Hopefully they don't suddenly go into Lower Decks uniforms, kind of cop out and say, the new uniforms. Like, no, stick with these.
I mean, the other thing I really enjoyed about this episode too was bringing back the Packlids. We kind of touched on that a little bit, but the fact that they were we've always made fun of them over the years, even on Trekyards, you are smart, you'll make us go, talking to the audience and stuff, and to bring them back in such a way that it's like, well, yeah, and even Boimler explains it, they would trick people with distress calls, and now there's 30 different races, weapons on their ships. They've really ramped up their acquiring technology, and I think it's really fun to have them back and be a big baddie, really. Because they're so stupid that they're actually scarier than most races, actually.
The level of quality of Mike McMahon's knowledge of the universe. He turned the Packlids into a threatening enemy. Think about that for a second. This man successfully did that. That is a feat. Yeah, brilliant. And I'll call it out. Two great things about that I think are... One might be subtle or a non-known reference, but first of all, I love the fact that when they warped in, I instantly knew the middle ship, the head. I recognized that as the classic TNG of every weak ship. I was like, that's a nice reference. And obviously Packlids is one of them, as in one of the 10 of them. So I didn't exactly clock the Packlids specifically, But I was like, oh, I get that. Beautiful, wonderful, great. 2. The shape looks like the Raiders from the animated series. If you recall, that red ship with kind of the prongs has that sort of vibe of the ship. Of all the vibes, that has a very similar vibe. So I thought that might have been a cool reference. Just
good call out there. Yeah. No, I recognize the shape. I didn't know where from, and now that you said that, it's like, damn, you're absolutely right.
If you literally know what it is, you will call them straight away. Like scene 1, Packlet ship in a. Although you were right in our prediction, you said Voltron. It kind of was. It kind of was a mishmash of everything put together. Hell of a call out. With a Packlet ship at the head.
Yeah. That is funny. Another thing I want to talk about real quick is just Peanut Hamper. I hated that from the beginning, and I'm glad that Peanut Hamper is now floating in space saying help, because I never liked it, and I'm glad that exocomp is now gone. So, yeah, wasn't looking forward to that, and kind of called halfway through that scene where they're talking about how they're going to get the virus over, that it's going to just say no. But yeah, it goes back to the original episode. it didn't want to sacrifice its life in the original episode because
there
it
you
was
go.
sentient. And here it's the same thing. So I thought that was good, but I hated the character, so it's fine.
Well, I hope that a director, film director called Ryan Johnson, watches this episode and sees that in this episode they made an expectation, they subverted it, and you liked it. That's how you should do it successfully. Super satisfying, and yeah, it led to Rutherford and Sharks. It's brilliant, yeah.
Now, Death of Shax. Do you think he's dead? I mean, it's a call out to Tasha kind of dying first season, but and even Mariner mentions Armis.
Yes.
When she's
Feed you to Armis. Yeah.
so I mean,
Shut up, Jen.
yeah.
There is a Jen.
Yeah. Who on the ship is named Jen? And didn't she push a Jennifer over a few episodes ago? It was an Orion or Andorian. I mean,
Ooh, maybe.
Out of my way, Jennifer, or something.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Is he dead? Is he coming back?
Well, as we know,
I was shocked.
Well, as we know, some characters who have matter-dependent explosions in their face, such as Data, do die. Some, such as the Emperor, don't die with explosions in your face. So it varies. Though Michael Mann did confirm new Security Officer next season, so I think that's fair to say he's dead. Although I guess my biggest problem this episode, now that you've brought that up, is that the scene where it explodes, the shuttle is about 5 meters from the explosion without shields, and the ship is about 500 meters away from it with no shields. If the ship isn't warp core exploding, clearly it's just exploding. None of them get damaged. Like, that shuttle should have been vaporized, and the ship should have been damaged. So it was a bit dumb. Like, didn't make sense. It felt, if you try to tell me Strax whatever's dead, and yet the shuttle survives 45 meters away.
Didn't think about it. Doesn't take away my enjoyment of this episode at all. Just him pushing the shuttle out, I was like, okay, he's going to get sucked out into space and maybe beamed up by the Cerritos. And then I saw the force field, and I'm like, okay, brilliant, good. At least I thought about that. And then the explosion happened, and I was like, what? And then I didn't have a chance to think about the fact the shuttle wasn't very far away. But even Boimler on the Cerritos said, oh, look, they got away safely because he sees the shuttle. Didn't read how many life forms were on board, which you'd think they would scan for life signs and see only one, but...
What do you think of the first scene? We actually do get the Mariner, which I called comm badge on his shirt, on near him, comms open, revealed. I absolutely called it. Very happy about that. What do you think of having that revealed straight away and how that led into the whole episode?
I thought it was fine. Not as good as I thought it could have been. But yeah, the whole, like, at least the bridge crew hearing what was going on. The mom didn't seem quite as mad as she would have been I think the hollow version of her mom, the mom. I would have had them drummed out of Starfleet. Sure, she was getting mad, but she wasn't getting to that point, And I'm glad it wasn't like broadcast ship wide, although somehow the rumor spread really quick that Mariner was the daughter.
Well, it's subverted more expectations. The fact that was the season-long problem wasn't that big a problem in the end, and they have more catharsis through it. I mean, it's growth from last week. It's again, we expected certain things this episode, and they used them all up in the first 10 minutes, if not 7 minutes, and then we move forward. That's great, And I was also right; it was longer, just over 28 minutes.
So, I mean, we have mentioned the Titan coming in, which was great to see, and have it canonized, and good job, Sean Turinjo. Yeah, we have Riker and Troy on board, which is great. And not only, like, I'm glad that Troy was there, as much as I'm not a fan of the character or the actress, really. It was good to have them both there, and I'm glad that was included, because if she wouldn't have been there, people would have said something about that. So I thought that was really fun. And to see a more goofier Riker was fun as well, although he has been goofy over the years, I guess, somewhat. I just didn't like his voice acting. His voice acting was very not Riker. It's like, I don't know why, but when people go in for voice acting, even John Delancey was the same with the Q. It's like, hello, everybody, I'm Captain Foley. It's like, you don't sound like Captain Foley. Just talk normally, please. Do it like you're doing ADR. Don't record it like an animated show.
So I thought it was brilliant. Although I was convinced that the first scene was the only scene, and then he was going to walk away like in Picard, very anticlimactically. So that every time I got more of him, I was like, okay, you're justifying this because he wasn't a cameo at that point. He was actually in the episode, and we want that. We want actual appearances. And so I agree. The first, shields up, although he was already firing weapons, so a bit redundant to say shields up during a battle once, But that's a joke. It's a joke within a joke. But yes, first couple of lines, he was just sort of, I'm saying stuff like I'm in a booth. But as he got through the episode, he got more and more tame, as also he was getting used to it, and he got better as he went on. Like Deanna, she did great. Every line Deanna did was like the correct cadence of, although, yeah, I mean, he was then more energetic. I mean, as Michael Mann said, this is them now on their own ship. This is them in their element now. As we also said in TNG, as a Best of Both Worlds Part 2, he's basically given up any chance of being a captain. Like, mentally, he said, I've had that chance, I'm not for a while. He doesn't for like 10 years. And then now he's finally got it. The fact that he's this new lease of life is great. And we also had the alien from Discovery, who's also in TNG, is also like...
In the books, though, Titan is one of those ships that has a larger, more diverse crew. Not larger necessarily, but more alien species than I think that's one of the points of the Titan. So I actually really like the fact that we saw an alien right off the hop on there.
Like I said, it was a real appearance, and we learned that the captain, that Riker mentored the captain, which is fun. It makes you wonder then, she'd have to. The captain would have had to have served on the Enterprise then, because Riker was on the Enterprise for like 20 years. And before that, he wasn't a second in command. So unless he was looking out for her as an ensign when he was a lieutenant, which obviously could have been the case. But the fact that Mariner was Boimler's helper, friend, mentor, and then Riker was the mum's mentor, and Boimler looks up to Riker as his hero. So Riker's hero was Mariner's mum's. So that's a nice double parallel, and hopefully now Riker will be the common recurring ship and role. Hopefully, I mean, obviously don't overstay your welcome, but give us a real story. Give us some real stuff with them. Give us some meat, because you've got, those two people love each other dearly. Troy and Riker, the actors and the characters. They're a positive force. The Titan's a good ship. Fully, you can flesh it out. Tuvok and Wesley could be on the ship. They've been on the ship. They could be, that is very open to that easily. So use that. Obviously, that's the fan service equivalent. But I would have said start Mike with a 2-parter with the Titan, and then can come back for a one-off by episode 8. That's how I would sort of pitch that. But yeah, use it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Like, when did he have the chance to mentor Freeman? Who knows? Hopefully we'll get that fleshed out at some point.
Well, there's 1,000 people on the Enterprise, and I'm sure they shift in and out over those, 12 years
That's
on
interesting.
the
Although
D,
you think she would have said something by now that she would served on the Enterprise. She did at one point say the Enterprise isn't that cool, I guess.
I mean, potentially then Mariner
the Enterprise
was on
has
the
been
Enterprise.
referenced quite a few times
She
during
also
the course of the
mentions
show.
Crusher and
but
Wesley and
we
Beverly
found out
by
she's
name.
been on 5-star ships.
Of all the people, all the
so
fleet.
to find out one of them was the
mention them because
Enterprise
we know
would be actually
them,
kind
but
of
it means if she potentially was the daughter of,
she wasn't stationed on a
a
starship. She was just on the
Mariner
starship.
or whatever the name is,
that would work
captain
for me.
on the Enterprise for like 3 years. Then 3-year rotation during seasons 3 to 6, whatever. Then he mentored her. Then she
Absolutely,
left
that'd be
on another
awesome.
ship, became captain, and so that would explain why Mariner has more experience, because she also went around places with Enterprise. And then you could have literal Enterprise D flashbacks with young Mum and young everyone else. I mean, that actually feels really organic now, based on just 2 lines.
What do you think about Badgie coming back? I wasn't surprised to see him.
Well, we did debate that, didn't we, last week? We were like,
yeah, we did. He's not dead. I guarantee you he'll be back at some point, even though he was.
Rutherford didn't have his memory, so we wouldn't think to delete him. If he has memories, he probably would have deleted Badgie and killed him for good, but he doesn't remember, so.
Yeah, so that didn't bother me too much. I like the way it was incorporated in, to make a virus that sadistic would take some weird genius.
With no morals, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, Badgie, I would say that the Badgie in this episode makes the episode better that he appeared in. I didn't like it very much. I thought it was probably the weakest of the season. This made that better. He was good in this episode. He didn't go too far. I liked the reveal of him like killing his dad. You know, I thought it was a cleverly played bit and bit that I thought it improved the other appearance. So well done them. But also, I can never see him again and be happy. I think either way they can work now.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be happy not seeing Badgie again, to be honest. Now, the only other thing is the Cerritos. I mean, it does get messed up pretty badly. We did not see any kind of weird saucer separation type of dealy, which is just disappointing.
Did nothing special.
But it was getting carved up like a First Contact Day salmon, which I loved, instead of a Thanksgiving Day turkey. Getting carved up pretty good. The nacelle was messed up, and at the end, it's in space dock or Douglas Station getting fixed, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't want it coming out looking all sovereignty. I want it to look kind of sort of like it maybe sometimes does," or whatever she said, which was kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like, oh, we're just gonna get the same Cerritos. It'd be cool if it had like something new, like different engines or something for season 2, but it's not going to, as we saw in the repair footage. So
I mean, I think they're undecided as to how far they're going to go, because they say, well, look similar-ish. I think they are actually going to tweak it a bit, but definitely not as far as they could. And you don't often get that level of total destruction, which is also pretty satisfying. It had a real movie vibe, to about last week, but also not really going too far. They did a good level there.
One more thing I just want to touch on real quick is Rutherford having his implant ripped out, losing his long-term memory. It's very likely going to get another implant. Probably not a Vulcan implant. It'd be interesting to see a different implant for season 2, or a cybernetic enhancement, whatever it was. But to see that ripped out by Shax was pretty awful, actually. But to save the day, I loved it. And then as he's pushing him out, he says, calls him Baby Bear, which I thought was awesome. That whole, remember the security thing?
Yeah, I was trying to think.
Bear Pack, the Bear Clan or whatever. So I thought that was a really nice scene where he saved his life. But then to see Rutherford like not have any memories, and then being told all the stories, I'm just wondering how that's going to lead into season 2.
Yeah, they left so many potentials, so it could only go interesting places.
But I guess that's it, guys. There was a lot, like we said, there's a lot to unpack in this episode. So join us for our live review tonight at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're starting half an hour early. We'll probably run a little bit longer because there is lots to talk about. It was just thing on thing in this episode to focus on. So we probably missed one or two things during this quick review, which was not really that quick, but anyway, put your comments down below what you thought of this episode. Was it the best of the season? And how about season finales and just overall first seasons does this compare to the rest of Star Trek? Let us know in the comment section. Be sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell notification icon to all so you don't miss any of the great content, because we're going to have quite a few breakdown videos from this episode, I'm sure.
And of course, if you enjoyed that content for free over all these 10 weeks and the next 13 of Discovery, so if you can support us financially, we legitimately do need it. Every little bit does make a difference. So Patreon is a great way monthly. You can super chat during our lives. Is a truly great way because you get to talk to us directly. Join the channel on YouTube, similar to super chat but monthly, or one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com. That is the PayPal. We do need all the support we can get to allow this channel to keep going and growing through all these new seasons of Trek. So thanks in advance if you can't just like, subscribe, and do all the stuff Stuart said, because the free way is also a really important way.
That's right. So until next time, guys, I am Captain Foley.
And I am Lieutenant Junior Grade Commander Coggins.
I thought Lieutenant Junior Grade Commander Cockings. I love that. I thought you were going to completely forget about the Lieutenant Junior Grade thing. I was waiting for it. But anyway, guys, until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.